Hey everybody, it's 1776 or Bust. Welcome back to the channel, and if you care to, please subscribe at the end of the video and make any comments that are positive and encouraging and of course constructive in regards to my videos or what you think of the pistols that you see in front of you. Today I am actually looking at my SIG P320 in all FDE. What can I say? It's one of the finest pistols that I own. Craftsmanship is just top-notch. There's no other way to explain it other than that. It is safety checked. As you can see, there's nothing in there, and of course there's nothing in the magazine well. But to take down the gun really quick, you can see, and this is what I really want to get into, is this right here. This right here, the actual mechanism of the gun itself. This is actually your gun. It's not the frame. It's not even the slide or the barrel, it's this piece right here. This is the thing with the actual serial number on it. Why do I think that's a great idea? Well, first of all, no other gun that I know of does this, and I think that's a great feature in itself. It's very unique, and I like unique things. Secondly, if you're a fan of switching out grips, whether it's too small, too big, or the color's not right, I think what really makes this stand out is the fact that you can replace these grips, use the same module, drop it inside the grip, and now you basically have either a bigger grip, a smaller grip, or a different color. As you can see, this one here is actually the SIG Sauer Olive Drab, and this is the FDE. Now, this one obviously, you may not be able to tell, it may look black on the video, but it is pretty olive greenish. That's the best way to describe it. It's a very dark olive green. I bought it because I do have, excuse me, I do have this, I guess you can call it fetish of switching colors on guns without having to buy a whole new gun or pay for Cerakoting. But you know, you can see that everything inside looks very clean, very robust. Your rails are very thick pieces of steel. Not exactly huge in regards to surface area or contact, but at the same time, very robust and thick. Steel that they used. Everything inside, you can feel the weight of it too. It is just a good feeling gun. I mean, it weighs 26 ounces, and this is the compact version. 26 ounces with a magazine in it, and that's empty. But I mean, it just feels really good in the hand. Ergonomically, is it as good as a PPQ or a VP9? Maybe not. But for me, and I think for many gun owners of this model, I think they would agree that this fits the hand pretty darn good. Again, to put the gun back in, or quickly before you do that, the guide rod itself is steel, and you have a double recoil spring there. So that's a pretty nice feature. It mitigates a lot of that recoil. But the gun itself, I think, does that well because of the weight of the slide itself. You know, put it back on. You just basically do your typical, you know, push your slide or your lever, or your takedown lever. Whoops, your takedown lever, you push it back in place, and then you release the slide and you're back in action. You know, everything looks good. Just from the color of it down to just the polish of the barrel, it screams quality, and I think that's why I really enjoy this pistol a lot. Magazines, again, this is a 10-round mag. You can get this model right here in 9mm with a 17-round mag from the factory, but I live in the unfree state of New York, so unfortunately I'm relegated to those 10-round mags, which make it kind of difficult to find pistols like this around here. But the magazine, very nice, very smooth, nice matte finish to it. Very positive release of the mag. Comes right out, no issues, no hang-ups. You know, it's not like a Glock where you have that plastic against plastic, so there's not a lot of friction on it. But again, just top-notch material. This particular model came with the SIG night sights. Very nice 3-dot night sights. See if I can get a picture of that for you. Looks pretty good right there. But really nice sights. They pick up well. I like the fact that you have a pretty high shelf on here, so if you have to do any one-handed manipulations of the slide, you can do it on a belt, the edge of a desk, or something of that sort. But you know, unless you're going into combat or the world is coming to an end, I don't see you having to do that. Hopefully, if you're lucky, you'll never have to do that. Again, looking at the slide itself, you have your front and your rear serrations. Again, very manageable, very easy to push that slide back, no issues at all. The trigger itself is considered a double action striker fired trigger. I think it weighs around 6.5 pounds if I'm not mistaken, so I know there was a lot of talk between this and the P250. The P250, which was kind of the what can you say, this red-headed stepchild of SIG that a lot of people did not like because of that long double action only trigger. This obviously is based on that. However, the trigger itself is a 6.5 pound, I believe, double action only, and this is a 6.5 pound striker fired pistol. So supposedly there's no difference, but I don't know if I buy that too much. Again, the trigger is very smooth to operate. You know, this is already in battery, so you can see that the trigger hits a slight wall. Okay, not much take up at all, and bang, and that's it. I mean, that's not a lot. Again, to see the reset, you've got a very slight reset, and there you hear your click, very tactile, very audible reset, and you're back to firing. So again, very slick trigger. I don't see this being an issue at all with any mush or any necessary issues to change the trigger out. I know they did release a flat style trigger, and I know you can buy these where you do have the bladed trigger for safety, and I think those are going to be mostly used for law enforcement, that type of stuff. But in regards to this pistol itself, the one thing I like about it is the modularity. Again, I spoke about that earlier. This you can find in small, medium, large grips. On top of that, you can also buy a replacement slide end barrel. You can get those in most of the calibers. I know in this particular model they're still working on the 45. I don't know if they've released it yet, but I think that's a big bonus. You know, so if somebody doesn't want to go out and spend another $550, $600 on a pistol like this, you spend $300, which is about half the cost of that, on a new slide and new barrel, and you have a new caliber of pistol. Some people like that. Some people would say, well, if I'm going to pay $300, why not just pay the $600 and get a brand new gun? And I'm not saying you shouldn't. As a matter of fact, I would say you probably should, because I like guns, and probably so do you. In regards to maintenance of the gun, very easy to clean. I'm a big fan of frog lube, so I use a lot of I use frog lube in all my pistols. Again, never had any issues with any of that. But other than that, it is performed flawlessly. This is a great pistol. I think this absolutely destroys a Glock. Again, I've owned Glocks before, but I would say that this absolutely owns it. And I would say this also, if I was going to rank what I have, my P99 and the PPQ are up there at number 1, and this is number 2. The VP9 was not as clean as this trigger is right here, and but that could have just been the gun. You know, in regards to my Glocks, Glock triggers were nice. I'm not going to lie; they were pretty close. But there was just a little bit more, I don't want to say weight, but a little bit more resistance on the Glock trigger. This one is very easy to manipulate, very easy to fire, and I think that's why I do like the trigger quite a bit. Again, everything is very easy to operate. The controls are very good. You have your ambidextrous slide release or your slide lock, whatever you want to call it, and you can see that that is very easy to use, very easy to manipulate. Again, if we're going to drop it, you can see one-handed, very easy to do on the right, on the left side, and you can see that I just dropped that with the index finger. So it's pretty simple to do. Again, if you want to practice dry firing it, you don't even have to rack the slide, which is kind of another cool feature of this. All you have to do is pull the trigger, and that sort of simulates the trigger itself, even with the reset. So that's kind of a nice feature as well on this pistol. You don't see that a lot, or I don't think you see that at all in many pistols. Again, everything on this pistol to me screams quality. I think that this is probably one of the finest crafted pistols that I own or have ever owned. I think my Walthers are great, but I think that this is just, you know, leaps and bounds above that. I hate to say it because I love my Walthers, but the quality and craftsmanship of this pistol I think is second to none, and that includes the VP9, which I'm not trying to hate, but at the same time I did own one again, and it just didn't appeal to me. I'm not trying to hate on the gun, just trying to give you an honest opinion. In regards to concealing and carrying it, very easy to carry. It is a little heavy, a little hefty. Again, the 26 ounces is pretty hefty. Some people say, oh, I wouldn't carry that, it's too heavy. But you know what? You get yourself a good belt, put it in a good holster, and it'll support the weight. And you won't even know it's there. I carry this particular model in an Alien Gear holster. All of my holsters that I own are Alien Gears. I really like their products. I think they're good. I like the idea that you can replace the shells. This was a shell to my old Shield, which I'm going to send back and get something new. But other than that, great gun. I think many people should go out there and look at this gun and seriously consider buying one, based on the fact that it's modular, based on the fact that it's comfortable to shoot, based on the fact that it's a SIG, and based on the fact that it is just damn cool. So if you have any comments or if you want to leave any suggestions in the comment box, feel free to. I'll try to respond to anybody who would like to leave a comment. Again, try to be civil. You know, my goal here is not to have fights with people online who are trolling. My goal here is to just kind of give you an experience of the guns that I own, go through them, show you what they look like on a desktop or a tabletop, and just kind of go over the cool features of them and go from there. So again, subscribe, like the video, and I appreciate any feedback. Thanks. And by the way, freedom is never free.